And in turn, that is my job then to A, show them love, to B, point them to Christ, to C, be who God has called me to be by just being me. That is another important thing I want to put in this healing process. In your healing process, you have to be yourself. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't have a voice. I can't sing. I'm not a singing sacrament, so therefore I can't bring healing to other people that way. Well, there are other ways that you can bring healing to people that you don't even know it. Whenever you're doing something and it just feels right, natural, it just feels right, that's being yourself. That's being genuinely you. Being genuinely you impacts people. They may not show you that impact. You may not supposed to see that impact. However, that is God using you in order to help these individuals. Let his light shine, y'all. I want to put out there are seasons for theories and there's seasons for actions. With this being said, I've realized in all my readings that I can read all day and night about healing, about this existential transcendence, about theology. However, I must live it out. I must act it out. There has to be a balance. And I want to encourage all of you as well. You can think about healing and suffering. You can think about ways to help heal people. You can think about your suffering, but if you don't ever act on it, then you won't never actually experience the results that you're looking for. So as a person, for myself, speaking for myself again, I was hurting. I I was suffering. And it wasn't until I started acting, and by acting, praying, getting on my hands and knees every day. And again, at first, I didn't feel immediately rejuvenated. There's an old gospel song. He's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is. Say he's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is. Say he may not call when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. I said that he's an on-time God. Oh, yes, he is. We must understand that God's going to act on his time in our suffering, not our time in our suffering. A lot of examples in the Divine Worship book gave about pastors who were asked questions about people who were in the hospital. Families were praying to God. God, give me a miracle. Give me a sign. I'll believe in you, God. I'll do this, God. I'll do that, God. Well, listen, God isn't going to answer you just because you asked him. Certain situations, yes. In the situations you felt like your prayers haven't been answered, that's because either A, he wants you to continue to grow in your faith. B, he doesn't want you to be complacent in the fact that whenever you're in a hard time, you won't work for something yourself. And C, his understanding is greater than ours. So with my grandmother going through this dementia, I'm wondering, such a strong woman, 96 years old, how can she be going through this suffering? She's taking care of so many others. I should not question God why he's allowing her to suffer. Because again, his understanding is higher than my understanding. I want to point out that we are all bridges. And I want to say that by theologians, we are all bridges because we're choosing, not even just theologians, people in general, we're choosing to be used by God to help bridge gaps that might not get bridged any other way. I feel like whenever I'm talking about something positive, like the light shines and it's glorious, when you're doing something for the betterment of someone else, loving on someone positively, you're being a bridge. And it's better to be a bridge than a barrier. One quote that I really enjoyed from this book, Divine Worship, and I'm going to jump on to another book, is